Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. I am here with Samantha Asher of Samantha Asher Photography. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Of course.
I actually met Samantha because she's done some photography for us for my daughter. A lot of her mini shoots we participate in, and so I wanted to interview her and see what's going on.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your business. Why did you decide to open Samantha Asher Photography?
So it was more of a hobby that snowballed. I really wanted to start taking pictures of my own kids. I would spend a lot of money hiring photographers because it's such a wonderful thing to have professional photos of your children, and I wanted the newborn photos and the 6-month photos and the 1-year photos and the every birthday, and I love taking pictures, so I wanted to learn how to do it myself. Not necessarily, obviously of my whole family, because I still hire photographers to do that, but I wanted to learn how to take really good pictures of my kids, and that's really just how I started. I bought a really good camera and tried to learn how to use it.
How did you learn?
It was a lot. Learning photography on a professional camera is something that I didn't expect to be as massive of an undertaking as it really is. It's so much work. It's so much of an understanding of different concepts that you're not used to when you just snap a picture on your iPhone.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I always kind of thought I'd want to get into it, and just the pure looking at a camera overwhelms me, and so I'm like, no, I'll leave it to somebody else.
Yeah, it's a whole lot. It's more than I expected.
As far as the business aspect of it goes, were there certain steps maybe that you needed to take to turn it from a hobby into a business?
Yeah, sure, of course. I started just taking pictures of my kids, and then I would, I'd have an idea for something else. So I'd tell one of my girlfriends, can I borrow your kid? I want to go do this, because I don't have any little girls. So if I had an idea for a shoot that was very feminine and girly, I'd be like, let me just snag your daughter. And so then my other friends would be like, can you do that? Can we do this? Can we do this? And I don't know how it has snowballed into a professional business, but for a long time, I wouldn't even let my own husband or my friends call me a photographer, because I'm like, no, this is just my hobby. I'm not really a photographer. And then one day, one of my girlfriends were like, no, I think you are. So yeah, that's how it started. And then as my business became bigger, I had to learn how to manage my time, how to manage clients, how to manage a database full of clients, which I think was maybe one of the hardest steps in starting a business that I didn't fully expect to even start in the first place.
What was it like when you first started, managing that database? Maybe kind of explain a little bit of that.
So I always worked for big companies. I started in media. My background is in sports marketing. So I never was on the back end per se of running a business. And when all that came about, and I really had to learn how to take payments, even stuff as simple as taking payments from clients, scheduling them in a calendar, not writing them on a notepad, which is so archaic now, which is what I was doing. You have to learn, so on top of learning photography and editing software and the camera itself, I had to kind of learn scheduling software and actual business software that it was just so foreign to me. It was a really hard learning curve.
Have you had any odd requests from clients? So now that your business has snowballed into what it has become.
Yes.
So that might be
odd requests. Yes and no. I feel like now that I'm a photographer, some of the requests I feel are a little odd, but maybe not to the average person. I have had people call me and say, oh, well, we just want one photo. How much would that be? And I'm like, it's the same price. It's very I'm like, I can't just give you one photo. Or
right.
Now as a photographer, I've had people ask for the raw images that are completely unedited, and not knowing the photography business prior, I would have never have known that, photographers don't give out raw images because that's their work. And there's so much heart and soul that goes into creating that artwork, taking it raw off the camera, putting it on the computer and editing it to my artistic status is something that all photographers really hold near and dear to their heart.
That's very interesting.
So those are some different things that a lot of people maybe don't know, but as you grow in this business or as you know photographers, it's a very personal work of art. It's a real labor of love.
Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting perspective because I would have just thought maybe the labor of love went into the editing and the raw images. We're just just an image, to those of us who aren't photographers, I guess.
Yeah, and it is the editing, and it's so funny because a lot of times when I first started putting anything on social media that you've really worked hard on and that you think is really beautiful is really nerve-wracking because it's kind of like it's your creation. Like it is an image of other people, but you've worked so hard on it. And so those things are different. It's really a different perspective when you're behind the lens and it's your little baby that you're putting out there. Like,
right.
I worked so hard on this. I hope everybody else likes it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we love it.
Thank
for
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
So what are your greatest challenges?
I have a hard time saying no to people. Especially there's a very busy season, obviously, for photographers. And I've had to learn how to balance being a mom and a wife and also being a photographer. Not knowing that my business would have taken off as quickly as it did. I was never even prepared to time management. Right. I was just like, oh, I hope I get clients. And then all of a sudden you have such an influx of clients who love your work. And it means so much to me. But then you have to really learn how to say no sometimes. It's hard.
Yeah. Especially, I guess I could definitely understand that.
Yeah, being a real estate agent, you have to balance your time and being a mom, and that takes up a whole bunch of time.
But, but also priority is
But my
right,
laundry's
so,
piling up at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is something that most people don't know about you?
So I had a really hard time with this because I feel like I do have such an open book about my life. I'm not super private about everything. I act really real. What you see sometimes on social media is really what we are. Sometimes I look like I have makeup on and my hair is done, and sometimes, a lot of moms don't look like that. That's not real life every day. And I feel like I'm pretty open about that, and I don't ever hide this is a bad day. My kids are driving me crazy. The house is a mess, and I look awful. So I feel like this was a really hard question for me. But the one thing that a lot of people don't know is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about photography and about photographs. And you can see I have a ton of photographs of my own family around my house, is because my grandmother was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia and Alzheimer's when I was pregnant with my first son. And one of the things that would kind of snap her back in the beginning stages of it were photographs. So photographs of me and my sister as children, photographs of our family, and to me, a photograph is something that's so special. And to be able to freeze time for people, whether it's, a young mom with her children, and at the time you think your kids are gonna be that little forever, and 5 years from then you look back and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they were so small, and I'm so glad I got in this photo with them. Those are the real reasons why I'm a photographer, why I love taking pictures, why I encourage moms to get in the photo, even if you feel like I really just need to lose 5 pounds before I do this shoot. Just do the shoot, because 20 years from now, 30 years from now, the photographs that you leave your children are all they're going to have.
Yeah, sorry. And like as a mom with a 4-year-old girl, I'm sitting here like, yeah, you're right. You can't FaceTime.
It's true though. And I look back on my own pictures with my babies and I think, gosh, I'm glad I took those, even though I didn't feel, as confident, even though I hadn't lost all the baby weight, even though, it's not even about that. I want my kids to look back on photos that I've taken with them and be like, God, Mom got in so many pictures with us. Dad, we took so many pictures as a family. They're not going to look back in 20 years and be like, wow, my mom could have lost an extra 5 pounds.
Right.
Like, that's so silly for us as moms and women to think. What's really important is just capturing those moments and freezing time. So when you look back, you remember what it was like.
Yeah.
It's really dear to my heart.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And I could tell, you speak very passionately about it.
Thanks.
I'm sorry about your grandmother.
No, thank you. But it is just something that you don't realize until the moment has fleeted.
Right.
You don't realize until that chapter is closed that I wish I would have gotten more photos.
Right.
And so that's very, very important to me. And if I could help a mom remember when she's 85 years old and her kids show her a picture, I mean, that's the best gift anybody could give.
What is your most memorable client experience?
I have a lot. I have, a lot of my clients, my first clients are my very good friends, obviously, because they let me be like they were my test subjects. Yeah. So I have a lot of really good, awesome memories with my friends and their babies. And, I've done, first 48-hour shoots where I've gone into the hospital prior to COVID. They, allowed photographers in the hospital and taken pictures where siblings are just meeting the baby. And those are very memorable to me. There's one I think that will always stick out in my mind, and it was of a dear friend of mine, and it was her 2 children, and they had recently, about 6 months prior, she had lost her husband to cancer, and he battled cancer very, very, very bravely and courageously, and unfortunately, in the end, cancer won. But their family was just so strong, and it was Mother's Day, and she wanted a Mother's Day shoot, and I absolutely, 100%. We did the shoot, and emotions were very up and very down. It was a roller coaster. They were just so loving. The one emotion that was just constant through the whole shoot was this overwhelming, all-encompassing love. They looked like a different family on the outside, but you could tell on the inside they were still the same strong family. And even though the husband had passed, you could see that they were all so connected. And it was a really, really hard shoot, really emotional. But that is perhaps my favorite, most emotional, and definitely most impactful shoot I've ever done, and maybe I ever will do.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I'm very thankful to her that she allowed me to capture those moments, because I'll never forget that, ever.
Maybe some fun stuff. What else do you like to do besides work?
So I am a mom of 3 very, very active children, all boys. I have a 14-year-old, a 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and they keep me busier than any job that pays me could keep me. Between their sports and the extracurricular activities, I'm not sure that we're ever actually in this house. This might be the first time I've sat on this couch. That's what we do. My husband is amazing, and when I have to, when I'm out on a shoot, Dad steps up and comes right in. But it's been an adjustment for our family for me to start working again. And we've really adjusted, and they are like my biggest supporters and my biggest fan club. They're amazing.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do they ever help you on shoots or anything?
They do. They do. I've had my oldest, my 14-year-olds, come on a few to help me, carry equipment, and he's just the best helper. And I'm not sure the little ones would be quite as big of a help at this point, but maybe in the future they will be.
They'd probably be jumping in the photos.
Yeah, they'd be like, take a picture of me. And I'm like, it's not about you. But no, they're really good. And actually, my oldest has come and like scout locations with me.
Oh, cool.
My husband is a native Phoenician, so if there's ever anything I have like an idea for, I'm like, I think you probably would know where to take this. And he's like, I don't, but we can find it, you know? So I drag them into my business. They should be getting paid also. I drag them in to really help me with everything, every aspect.
That's cool.
Yeah.
True family business.
Yeah, it is. They're like, okay, it's time to go scout locations with mom. Let's see what works. They know the drill by now.
Where are you from if you're not from Phoenix?
I'm not from Phoenix. So my husband's a Phoenician. He's born and raised here. But I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, anything else exciting going on that your clients might want to know about?
So it's great that you asked me that. I have Mother's Day minis coming up. I just released the calendar for them, and it's going to be 2 days of their quick minis. They're 15-minute sessions, and it's going to be so much fun. So it's a great way to celebrate moms in motherhood with their children, and it really ties back into what we talked about before in just getting those pictures with your kids and just be in the moment with them, because you never have them this little again. And I love celebrating motherhood, and I love celebrating moms, and Mother's Day minis are maybe one of my favorite times of the year.
Awesome. Yeah, that was the first time that I met you.
Yeah.
Was at the Mother's Day mini last year.
Yeah.
And it is super fun. And I was the typical mom, like, right, I didn't want to get in the photo. I was like, I feel bad. I don't want to get in this, but I'm super glad that I did.
Yes.
So.
Oh, good. That makes me so happy. I want all the moms, like, it doesn't matter how you feel about yourself. I mean, you should always feel confident when you dress and when you come to a shoot, but just know that your kids are going to look back on those pictures and just feel so lucky that they have them.
What is the best way for people to contact you if they want to do?
Wonderful. So I have my social media. It's Samantha Asher Photography on Instagram and Facebook. If you go on Instagram, you can pull right my link tree. You can get my calendar for Mother's Day minis or regular family photo shoots. I have my calendar open from now until April. We're all those schedules are out there. And that's the really best way to reach me. You can also email me at samanthaasherphoto@yahoo.com, but social media is usually the quickest way.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And please go out there and fill in your time on her calendar so that you can get in on her minis or a regular photo session. You definitely won't regret it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.